Okay, so now that we're in 2023, I kind of wanted to put the last 12 Boruto chapters into a tier list. With the last 12 chapters dropping in the year of 2022, we've gotten a lot of content from the Boruto manga. I do want to say, if you want to make this tier list of your own, I saw somebody make it on Twitter. I forgot who made it. I just saw on my timeline, and I kind of wanted to put these chapters into a tier list of my own. The link is in the description if you want to make a tier list of whoever made this. I don't know who made it. Who made this? I don't know actually. Oh, Kamikaze, shout out him. We're gonna go into this right away. I wanted to have a video out today. I have another video dropping soon, but I want to upload a lot more videos, so we're gonna make this tier list right now, and we're gonna go through it before we start ranking these chapters. So, at bottom tier, we got Kiba's toilet. Essentially, it's dog shit. It's the worst thing you could possibly think of. Kiba as a character, he's referred to as one of the worst characters in the series. If I put a chapter in this category, it essentially means that this chapter was pretty dog shit, and I'm not gonna lie. Next, we got Naruto's bed. Essentially, it's a sleeper chapter. Kind of below average. Essentially, it's borderline bad, where if a chapter dropped, I could essentially sleep through it and not miss any content. I'm not gonna lie, there's probably like 1 or 2 chapters that dropped this year where I kind of felt that way. But next we got V. Essentially, if you've been watching the streams, by the way, when I do stream, when the Boruto manga drops, we do hold a live stream every month on the 20th where we read the chapter live on stream on this channel. Make sure you got your noties on. I usually ask, what do you guys think of the chapter? W, V, or L. Essentially, V means right in the middle. It means just average, right in the middle. It's alright, not too good, but not too bad at the same time. At best, it's average, but it's nothing too crazy. Next, we got Boruto's switch. We know that Boruto himself is a gamer. Outside of him doing the shinobi duties and being an Otsutsuki and fighting all these gods, my boy's been playing on the games. Of course, the games that he got on his switch, we got Pokémon, we got Super Smash Shinobis, and we got that Naruto cart. You know what I'm saying? We got all these games, and when you got a switch with compy games, it's fun. You get a good time out of it. So this is kind of like the good tier. There's a lot of good stuff out of it. And of course, the top tier, the highest tier, is Hanabi's thighs. We don't even need to explain that, my boy. You already know. I'm just saying. So let's begin from chapter 66 all the way to 76. We're gonna go straight into order. 66 right now is top tier. Hanabi's thighs, straight up in there, man. I want to say, when it comes to this chapter, it was Kawaki versus Borushiki. This is arguably the best fight in the entire series, at least within the manga. When it comes to showing off how strong the new gen is, this is the perfect display of power when it comes to Kawaki's new karma seal and just how strong Borushiki has become. Momoshiki awakened through Boruto's body after Boruto suffered a heart attack. We saw Kawaki display his true power, such as using Ishiki's dojutsu, his karma seal. We saw literally 2 Otsutsukis box each other. I imagine that once this fight gets adapted into the anime, we might get something on the level of episode 189, or even on the level of the Baryon mode fight, considering how big the stakes were at the time and just how important it was for the likes of Boruto, Momoshiki, and Kawaki. And on top of that, Boruto making that sacrifice to save himself, and on top of that, Boruto making that sacrifice to save Naruto, him putting his life on the line where Kawaki killed him. The amount of shit that dropped, yo, when this chapter dropped, the amount of Kawaki slander was insane. It was insane, yo. Everybody hated Kawaki. All the Boruto diehards, they hated Kawaki's guts, and still to this day, I know a lot of people are very salty about his character, and because of that action. And man, that caused a big divide within the fandom. This was an amazing chapter in terms of content, the battle, Boruto making that sacrifice. God damn, I can't wait for this to be animated. Definitely top tier for sure. Next, we got Boruto chapter 67. This is right after Boruto got killed by Kawaki. We saw Boruto get resurrected, and we saw Kawaki beat the shit out of Code. This was a really good chapter, man, because after Boruto died, there's a lot of theories from the fandom on how Boruto was gonna come back. Me personally, I thought Boruto was not gonna come back for a while. I thought he was gonna be gone for a couple chapters at least. I was kind of surprised how quickly Boruto came back, but with how they explain on how Boruto came back through and how Momoshiki healed him, it does make sense. I think the resurrection as a whole, it only made the consequences of Boruto's future only even more crazier, considering that Boruto became 100% Otsutsuki. Momoshiki told Boruto that the event of him losing it all is not that far away. Chapter 68, essentially this chapter was the aftermath of the battle against Code, and we got a lot of recap in this chapter, and deservedly so, since there was a lot of information that needs to be cleared up. Amado still said that Momoshiki, despite not being able to resurrect anymore, he can still tap into that Borushiki mode and just murk the fuck out of everyone, so he still proved to be a danger at the end of the day. Code tried to get his get back immediately. Instead of sitting down and thinking of another plan, he came right back using that claw mark on Shikamaru, where we did see the return of Delta. Amado did recreate her to be a protector of the Leaf Village. This chapter was a V. I don't think it was anything too crazy. It was in the middle, nothing too bad, but I like the fact that they brought Delta back. Next, we got chapter 69. Like 68, and probably for the next couple of chapters, chapter was more or less Ada Ada coming through, setting her dominance, wanting to kill Amato with Code on top as well, since Code wanted to get his limiters removed. And I mean, when it comes to a chapter like this, Ada was MVP easily. The way she was using her enchantment ability to essentially take control over the likes of Shikamaru, Amato, and Delta especially. She kind of dominated this chapter, and I mean, like I said, like with 68, it was in the middle. I had some good feelings about it. It was a alright chapter. I don't think it was anything crazy, or it was on the level of 67, but it had some good content that was coming out of there. Like I said, this is another V chapter. 70, I think this is where Code got his limiters removed, and I remember at the time, this was some crazy shit, man. And I'm gonna put this at Boruto Switch. This was a solid chapter for the characters of Shikamaru, especially because in the last couple of chapters, I forgot to mention, in 69 as well, Shikamaru held his own. He was able to essentially lock down Code and Ada in one room. Even though he was being controlled, he was able to essentially give Ada a plan for her to live in Konoha with Kawaki, to essentially watch over her. And on top of that, he was able to get information from Amato about Ada's weakness, and of course Code getting his limiters removed. As I mentioned, that shit was insane, considering that at the time a lot of fans were very excited to see Code get his limiters removed. It was the one thing that the story kept hyping up, and even though he was taking a lot of L's, I really like the design. And heading into 71, seeing Code's limiters and design, the expectation that people had for him, especially me, I'm not gonna lie, this is something that I had for Code, that okay, it was turn up time. It was no more fucking around, no more dicking around. You can't keep taking these L's. Once he got his limiters removed, that motherfucker of course had to fight Damon, and I mean, when that happened, it was a complete and utter one-sided beatdown. It was just like some, I couldn't believe it, bro. Like, my expectations of Code kind of just went down the drain, and I get it. He's written in this loser theme. He's written to be a loser. That seems to be like his main theme as a character, where he just keeps on taking L's to the point where the next time he actually fights and he actually gets away with a W, it's gonna be so surprising. At least when it comes to something like this, when he got his limiters removed, it was like, god damn. But at least the one thing we do know about in this chapter is the fact that we learned about Damon's weakness. Of course, Damon actually has to touch somebody with his palms in order to activate that reflection jutsu. And at the end of Boruto chapter 71, after essentially getting destroyed, my guy went on essentially a vow. He made a vow, and he said, like, I will destroy absolutely everything. Kawaki, the Leaf Village, his friends, his family, the Hokage, etc. And I mean, even though it hasn't happened yet, that set up a lot of huge things, such as going into chapter 72, which was a really good chapter. This is going straight into Boruto Switch right here, man. We saw after Code getting that beat down from Damon, he got that 10 Tails army with him. This chapter was really good, especially with the fact that not only did we get Code getting that 10 Tails army, splitting that 10 Tails and using it to his advantage, which is something that many fans wanted him to use in the first place, but we got that prophecy from Momoshiki again, which is starting to become a pattern within Boruto's mind. I've been saying it a lot in my videos, but to be honest with you, the way they've been foreshadowing starting from chapter 67 and going and beyond, literally every single chapter, every time Momoshiki appears, it's running rent-free in Boruto's head, and it's gonna keep on going until it actually happens. And the fact that Momoshiki did say that it's going to happen very soon, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna happen in the next couple of chapters. I don't really expect it to happen by the end of next year. He's gonna start to lose it all. To be honest with you, it's probably gonna begin with Code's attack on the Leaf Village with his 10 Tails army, but in terms of losing it all, that statement is so ambiguous. We don't know what that truly means. Does that mean he's gonna lose Himawari and Hinata? Are they going to die? Now, chapter 73, I'm not gonna lie, this is the first chapter that I was like a sleeper chapter. This is a sleeper chapter in my opinion, because a majority of chapter 73 was essentially a recap. We got a recap of literally everything that we've gotten in the Code arc, which in my opinion was unnecessary, considering that we already got that in chapter 68. We already got a recap of what happened in the battles, and of course this was the mission that Team 7 was getting. In order to watch Ada and Damon, they were going to put Ada, Damon, Kawaki, and Boruto in one room. And while I understand that the rest of the cast need to understand how strong Ada and Damon are and what's the current mission, I just feel like when it comes to the recap of what's happening, such as we know that Boruto and Kawaki are Otsutsuki, Kawaki got his karma back. Ada has an enchantment ability on top of the fact that she has the Senringan. A lot of that information that was shown in that chapter was already known from the audience. And now I get the characters needing to know, but there's other ways of just explicitly showing it. Sometimes you don't need to explicitly state things. You can kind of just skip over it and show the character's reaction to it. We've seen this plenty of times in the Naruto series. Kishimoto has done this in Shippuden, for example. So it's not really something new. He could have implemented that writing technique and we could have gotten more information. This is a chapter where if I literally skipped it, I really wouldn't have missed much. The only thing that I would have missed, the overall mission of Boruto Kawaki cohabitating with Ada and Damon, which was shown at the beginning of Boruto chapter 74. 74 was also in the middle. It wasn't anything crazy. It was the start of the mission where we saw Ada and Damon head into the Hidden Leaf Village, and we saw Damon beat the shit out of Kawaki and Boruto pretty easily. They were in base form, but even if they were at full power, the outcome would not have changed. But this was another V chapter. I felt right in the middle. Some solid stuff, and I just felt like overall, it was more or less to set the mission. Now, I think a lot of those chapters, despite me giving them V's and sleeper picks, it really set up the next two chapters, because chapter 75, now that Amado was back in the Hidden Leaf Village, this was easily, in terms of lore, one of the best chapters in the manga when it comes to revealing more information about the Otsutsuki clan, and of course Shibai Otsutsuki. We got information on just where Ada and Damon got their powers from Shibai himself, where Shibai ascended into godhood, entering essentially a 5-dimension or 6-dimensional state, to the point where he can't even be perceived by regular humans, showing you just how strong he is. You know, you don't need fighting to have a great chapter. And on top of the fact, we got the introduction to Shinjutsu, which is something that we know Boruto, Kawaki, and Ada have. Code has it as well. More stuff added to the power system of Naruto, so we got more lore. On top of the fact that Boruto and Momoshiki can talk to each other in their heads. Momo called cap on Amado's story about his daughter, saying that Ada's ability of the enchantment slash Riz ability is not considered Shinjutsu and is not from Shibai, since Momoshiki is a proficient user of Shinjutsu himself. And that led into chapter 76, and we also got the backstory from Amado on what he was actually trying to accomplish. We learned that Delta is essentially a clone of her daughter, but after trying to clone his daughter so many times, his daughter actually died from the process, so he lost all hope. That's where he met Jigen and started trying to find a way to bring his daughter back, which led into Boruto chapter 76, which I would say it's a Boruto switch. It's a solid chapter and overall, because I know a lot of people weren't a fan of it, but we got a lot of emotion out of Ada's character. Her character overall, so far up to that point, I wasn't the biggest fan of. I understood the fact that she wanted to get with Kawaki since she never really experienced love, but what we actually got from her character in that chapter, I really appreciated, as even though it was a much slower chapter, we understood Ada's true feelings. She just wants to live a normal life. She just wants to have friends. She wants to be in a relationship with boys, and she can't really do that because of the suffering that she has. And we discovered that Sarada and Sumire, they can actually counter Ada's Riz abilities. So these were all the 12 chapters that dropped in 2022 for the Boruto manga. I'm not gonna lie, if I were to rate the Boruto manga that year, I'd give it a 7, a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was solid. We got some solid chapters that year, and we had some of the best chapters, especially last January, to start 2022 with chapter 66. But we got a lot of exposition for this arc, which I feel like will hit a lot more in the anime, especially if they decide to expand upon it now that we know that the code arc is starting in February. So I'm excited for this year, man, because I definitely do think that we're gonna get a lot of action chapters now that we kind of set the tone and mood for last year, and the fact that we got a lot of exposition and dialogue heavy chapters. I think it's about time we start to turn things up. I feel like this year is where the code arc will take a jump in terms of quality and as well as progressing the plot. We're probably gonna see the start of Boruto losing it all, and I'm very excited for that, man. So let me know how you guys feel about this tier list in the comment section below. If you do want to make your own tier list ranking the last 12 chapters, definitely go in the link in the description. Also, go join the Discord. I'm very active in there. We've been playing a lot of Minecraft as of late, and we talk about Boruto and other animes. So let me know how you guys feel about this video in the comment section below. So if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell as well, and have a good day. Peace.